With a family dynasty stretching back to Tudor times, will the spirits of its former occupants make themselves known at Carew Manor? Carew Manor was once the country seat of the Crews, one of Britain's most prominent families in Tudor times, and a dynasty which would dominate the area for centuries. The manor has been graced by a number of royal visitors over the years, including Henry VIII, James I, and most prominently Queen Elizabeth I. Although there have been many alterations over the years, the roof of the late medieval hammer-beamed Great Hall dates from about 1500 and is the only Grade 1 listed building in the London Borough of Sutton. By 1709, the estate had become run down, and although lacking the wealth of his ancestors, the owner, Nicholas Crewe, had the house rebuilt. 2 deep wings were added, but soon after the building work was complete, the north wing was gutted by fire and the whole interior destroyed. This part of the house remained in ruins for years, and was still largely empty in 1859, when the Crewe estate was sold and converted into an orphanage, which operated from 1866 until 1939. There are also underground caves stretching around the area, and these could be extensive, although most of it was filled in during the later 19th century. The manor is now a private school. There have been many reports of paranormal activity at the manor. The ghosts of Sir Walter Raleigh and Queen Elizabeth I are said to haunt the grounds, but this is more likely to be folklore than actual witness accounts. Poltergeist activity was reported in the north wing following the fire in the 18th century. A young girl has been heard laughing along the corridors, and been seen walking across a small bridge linking the former infirmary, and as well as dark shadows, a face has been seen staring out of an upper classroom window. The adjoining churchyard holds a mass grave of young girls, relating from an epidemic when the manor was an orphanage, as well as the spirit of a nun, which was seen as recently as 1972. Carew Manor has never been investigated before, and to maximise our time here, Spiral will invite fellow paranormal investigators Damien O'Dell and his team at APIS, Richard Court of Renegade Spirit, Martin Lever of UK PRS, and special guest mediums Paul Cecil, Andrew Grant and Norrie Miles for a night of this historic property. Splitting ourselves into 2 teams, we take a tour of the location.
My name's Damien O'Dell and I run a group called APIS, which is Anglia Paranormal Investigation Society. And tonight I'm here at Carew Manor by invitation of my very good friend Mark English of Spiral Paranormal. And it's nice to do a joint investigation. I feel we don't do enough joint investigations, and it's something that I want to encourage in the future. Yeah, it's Carew Manor tonight. As I say, it's never been investigated before, so it's a particularly interesting one for us to join forces, and we'll be very keen to see what sort of results we get.
Just where that skeleton is, hung up down there, I was about 3 foot in front of it on the other side of it, and it's like somebody brushed my arm.
Really?
And I thought it might have been a cobweb, but if you look, there's no cobwebs, nothing hanging down there, no string or anything.
Whoa, can't stop him. Yeah, same spot, isn't it?
Right there, yeah. So here's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Having no prior knowledge of the building's history, we begin the walk round with guest mediums Andrew Grant, Paul Cecil and Norrie Miles.
Just sense it in there. There's definitely a man approached me just sort of just to say hello, really. And he's, I swear blindly, it has something to do with Debenhams, the shop somehow, something to do with that going back in time. You know, the guy was almost like a vicar, or he looked vicarish or priest-like, or you know, he had a black suit on, but I couldn't work out whether it was sort of oldie-weldy, a Victorian man in the 1930s who still dressed Victorian-ish.
I feel quite strange, like, sort of sensation here. You know, like, you breathe in fresh air.
Yeah.
But it's a funny sensation there, but it's like I'm in the fresh air and I'm breathing in fresh air, but I think that I've got a condition that's with it.
I've got two children, two young children. It's almost like you don't often see a family of spirits, do you? Really?
No, not a whole family.
No, but there's no man in it. It's just there's just the wife.
Do you know? Can you say what sort of time period?
It's going back some time. It's more, not that I know about textiles and fashion, but it looks like it was a classic ghost-looking thing. Why Victorian, like almost like the family were lost here or something,
right.
Fire or something. I don't know. You know, just some incident they belonged here.
So Paul, here we are at Carew Manor with the first investigation we get in here in long 500-year history. If any, what's your sort of immediate reaction? What's coming to you, if anything?
I mean, walking down the corridor, certainly there's nothing, but just out there. I haven't been saying anything to anyone, but certainly there's been lots of impressions of different timelines and different energies passing by. So I've just been kind of watching them and intermingling with them a little bit, just without saying anything to anyone, and just seeing how it all evolves. So obviously, as we go through this evening, it'll be interesting to see whether they come forward and to start talking and see what we uncover.
I mean, the only things I picked up from the minute we came in, walked through with you, and I said about there and through this corridor. There's various, I think, but for me the strongest thing I pick up is a woman coming through here, and into that room, that 26, I pick her coming into that room as well. And she's not a servant, she's a lady, she's the lady of the manor, she's,
right,
you know.
This is some DVR equipment that we brought along tonight. We've got 3 cameras which are 0 lux, so they can completely see in the dark. Each camera has a 100-foot run of cable. We're going to put a camera up at that point there in the Great Hall, and we're going to try put another one over there in the far corner. But we're first going to run some tests just to make sure that the IR doesn't interfere.
Interestingly, the DVR cameras picked up this object in the hallway. It is more than likely to be an insect, a moth for example, as it is reflecting off the infrared beam. With eyewitness reports of a female energy moving across the walkway linking the school and the former infirmary, Mark invited Alan and Nori to see what they could pick up on.
I can pick up here, I can feel the energy changes. The stairs are different to the landing, and the landing is different to here. But the doors are different to what the landing is and what's out here.
Okay, now like I said about a hospital feeling here, but also that someone, it's like someone being restrained.
I get someone running across, running across, from this side to that side.
Can I push you a bit more on that?
A woman. But I wouldn't say a woman actually, I'd say a young woman. I'd say an old woman. That's it.
A young girl has been seen running across here from there to there.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well done, you.
Thank you.
Before we left here though, Nori was suddenly shocked to see something by the doorway.
No, I don't. That was horrible. It was about here.
Yeah.
And it was orange, but it just looked f***ing deformed. That was really freaky shit.
Oh, good.
Really, that was strange.
Our visit to Carew Manor had been very interesting, with the mediums identifying a lot of the history and events surrounding the property. With such a vast location to cover, we feel we've only scratched the surface with regards to its paranormal activity, and a further visit will be definitely needed in the future.